When they dropped the trailer for this show, I said, like, I'm kind of nervous about it, man. I really like Resident Evil, the gaming franchise. I'm not a big fan of the movies at all. I think they're all kind of bad, even though I think Apocalypse is kind of like a guilty pleasure for me. But everything else, it's just not for me. I really like the games, though. But I was worried about this show, but it's here now. Let's chat about it. Resident Evil. This is a brand new Resident Evil show on Netflix. It is 8 episodes long, and each episode is about 1 hour, and it is rated M. Basically, there is 2 plot lines happening at the same time, and they're like completely woven into each episode. 50% of the story is basically in 2022 in New Raccoon City. Everything looks amazing, everything looks fresh, everyone's happy, kinda, and everything's run by Umbrella, which, you know, if you know Resident Evil, it ain't good. And the other side of the story takes place in 2036, and everything has gone to absolute hell. There is zombies everywhere. Pretty much the world is destroyed, and that is your story. That is like how every episode is like woven together. It's actually pretty nice, pretty unique. The main character, her name is Jade Wesker. To be fair, if you know the Wesker name, you know what's up. Her dad is Albert Wesker in here as well, and she has a sister. And when they're in 2022 in New Raccoon City, they're all together, and then of course later on when it's 2036 and everything's gone to hell, it is Jade by herself, and you just don't know how this has happened. Everything's so good, and then 14 years later everything's gone to absolute just the bottom of the barrel of bad, and you kind of want to know, like, how has this happened? What's going on? You obviously know, like, zombies are coming, but you don't know how. There's a lot of stuff in here, story-wise, that was quite nice, if I'm being honest. Not everything paid off. I'm just saying, I'm not going to be going into spoilers. This is 100% spoiler-free. But for the majority, the story was alright, man. Like, not all the characters worked, but it was fine. I think Jade, and especially Albert, man, he stole the show for me. He was, like, consistently really good through every single episode. Every single episode, we go backwards and forwards in this time period, and it gives us, like, more little bits of information. I would say episode 1 is very, very good, man. And then it kind of goes down and becomes, like, very fillery and just slowly spoon feeds us, and by the end, I'd say like near episode 7 and 8, it picks up and it goes really, really good again. But there is a large point in the middle, story-wise. It's not bad, it's just kind of meh. Obviously, with such a big time zone difference, some characters are portrayed by different actresses and actors, because obviously it's 14 years. That worked kind of good. I was a little bit worried with the 2022 stuff, like Jade and that, going to the school. I didn't want it to become like some high school thing, and it definitely does not become that. It's kind of hard to talk about the story with no spoilers. It was okay. Like, I will talk about something at the end, which I think is the biggest thing that let this down. I'll talk about that at the end of this video. It's not a spoiler, do not worry. The story, it was alright. As for the horror and everything, the zombies visually looked very, very good, man. Very, very scary. They are the running zombies, the worst kind of zombies. They're not the slow ones, they're the sprinters. And of course, this is Resident Evil. You get a bunch of other stuff as well. I'm not going to spoil anything, but like, if you've seen the trailers, you get the zombie dogs and all that. Very, very sick. They look very, very good. I would say as well, the CGI in here, for the majority, I'd say 80%, actually looked very, very good, man. Especially like, I can't say it, it'll be spoilery, but there's some stuff there that is way over the top, but it looked very, very good. And of course, this is rated M or rated 18 if you're in the UK. There is a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of kills. Not as much as I probably would have liked, but when they are on screen, they're pretty nice. And now it's time to talk about some of the bad stuff, because this definitely has a lot of bad stuff. Obviously, I've already mentioned the middle point, especially like after episode 1 and 2, it goes down, man. It becomes very, not boring, just kind of meh. Also, a lot of scenes, especially like in the future in 2036, is filmed in like total darkness, so you can't really see what is going on, bruv. And on top of that, there's so much shaky cam. What is going on? I don't know why they mix those two together, because it does not work. Like, not everything looks bad, but a lot of stuff, especially in the future, and I get you want to have a tonal difference, because 2022 New Raccoon City looks white, pristine, clean as hell, everyone's happy, and you want to obviously go complete opposite and go bleak and dark and miserable. I get it, but it was a little bit too much. When I can't see everything of what's going on, it's too much. Also, not a negative, but I thought I'd just mention it. There are some nice little references to like the Resident Evil franchise. It was kind of nice. If you're a fan of the franchise, you're gonna like it, man. Good Easter egg stuff. But by far, the biggest negative for here, and I had a feeling this was going to happen. This does not need to be called Resident Evil, man. They could have literally ripped the name away and call it Zombie X times 3000. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It could have been something else, not Resident Evil, and it would have been fine. Unfortunately, when you plaster and slap on the logo Resident Evil, there's like a level of expectations, especially for me, because I'm not comparing this to those rubbish movies. I'm comparing it to the games, and the games have been getting remasters. Resident Evil 2, 3, 4's coming out soon. Like one of my favourite games of all time, and this has a level of expectations that I want it to hit. You've got the Resident Evil name, you better do something with it. And the show just straight up, I'm just keeping it real, it does not do it justice, man. This shouldn't have been called Resident Evil. It's nice to see different versions of different characters and a few little like Easter egg stuff. It's nice, but it does not need to be called Resident Evil. Netflix have purely used the name Resident Evil because they know people know what Resident Evil is and they're gonna go and check it out. A little bit disappointing, not gonna lie. This show as a whole, and I don't even think we're gonna get a season 2, does some nice setup and stuff, but I think majority of casual fans will think this is fine. And if you're a die-hard Resident Evil fan, I'm not a die-hard fan, I'm like 80% of a fan. I really like it, I just don't like the movies. If you're a die-hard Resident Evil fan and you like the movies as well, you might like this more than me. But if you're kind of casual or you like the games and you like me, you don't really like the films, this is very, very average, and I'm going to give Resident Evil 5 nerds out of 10. 5 out of 10 for me is dead average. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I probably will never go out my way to watch it again, and I probably will never recommend this unless you love the franchise. Again, if you really love the games, you're going to be like me. You think it's fine. To be honest, you might hate it even more. There is things in here that I did like, especially with like the kills and the gore, and there's a few little story beats that I did enjoy, but overall, very, very bland, very meh, just dead average. Ladies and gentlemen, have you seen it? Let me know down below. If you don't even like the Resident Evil franchise, you don't like the movies, you don't care about the games, skip this. There's nothing in here that's going to make you change your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Peace.